Some people should just not act in Star Wars. That might sound harsh, and it kind of is. Imagine you're a professional actor. You love Star Wars just as much as the rest of us, maybe even more. But some people still should not act in Star Wars. And maybe that's because you're not even an actor to begin with. Or maybe that's because you were cast as the wrong character. Or maybe you are an actor and you were kind of cast for the part that you would play, but you as a person and as an actor are so recognizable that there is no possible position in the Star Wars universe for you to act without being yourself. We saw that in this last episode. It's very sad. We're going to talk about all of that tonight. You guys usually see me as a positive voice in Star Wars, and I try to do that as often as possible, but I also am one of the most honest voices in the Star Wars community from my perspective. A lot of you guys feel that way about me, and I'm honored that you do. We're going to talk about that tonight, and I'm not really going to hold back, because seeing George Lucas's name at the end of the credits got me a little upset tonight. So stay tuned for that, and as well, in our news segment, never before heard audio of the actual casting of Jack Black in The Mandalorian. Stay tuned for that right here on Coffee on Korriban. Audio tracks all over the place, audio levels all over the place, and lights not lighting up correctly in the background. But we're going to roll with it, because you guys don't come here for perfection. You come here for honesty. And I honestly don't know why you guys watch, but I do appreciate you guys being here. I have a very special guest here tonight. He's been on the show before. Always enjoy talking to him. We would hang out all the time if we lived closer to each other, but unfortunately we don't anymore. But he's still a great friend of mine. I hope you guys enjoy everything that he has to bring to the table tonight. Let's say hello to the people in chat, and then we will bring him in. And as I said in the intro, I am a little upset. I am not one of the fans to say, I'm completely done with Star Wars, or I'm going to go burn Lucasfilm to the ground. That's not me. But as a dad, the way that I can equate it is if my daughter does something, I just go... That's exactly how I feel. Let's say hello to the people in chat. We've got Aussie Star Wars Nerd. Here is a sip for you. Blondie Boy, here's a sip for you. Vanishing Golem, here's a sip for you. I already said a sip for you, but he says, I like Christopher Lloyd a lot. Jack Black was a little silly and very out of place. Yep. Jake76, here's a sip for you. All right. I've been here since you did the the thing with Kyle Katarn, and I found another amazing YouTuber, which was you. I appreciate that. I greatly do. It's still weird to me that people find what I have to say entertaining, and they watch the stuff that I put out. It's still pretty humbling, but appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. Let's bring in my guest. I don't have a special stinger for him, so man, what can I play as a I'll just play my dad.
Oh, it is so good. That's not where it's really good.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Good. Excited to talk to you.
Let me rephrase that question. How are you doing after this last episode?
Well, I'm not going to, like you said, burn down the place and cry and have a tantrum, but I've been better.
Yeah.
I've been better.
So what, right off the bat, what would your rating be of this last episode? And do you think this is the worst Star Wars television episode that we've gotten of all time?
I will have to say 1.5 out of 10.
Ooh. That's rough. That's about as low as it can possibly get.
Yeah, and honestly, I've seen a few really terrible filler Clone Wars and even Bad Batch, like the Pooba episode. I know you haven't seen it yet, but some of your followers probably have. That was a total filler, but even that had some purpose. It feels like this side quest, let's take care of some droids, is just total filler, total nonsense. Jack Black, Lizzo, the whole thing is just. I mean, the whole internet's talking about it, you know.
Right.
And I'm sorry to say, but people don't freak out for nothing. I mean, sometimes they do, but in this episode, I would have to say, yeah, it's terrible.
Well, you made a good point backstage before we went live, in that you were hearing from average fans, the people that might watch the episode each week it releases, probably will watch it after the fact, after the whole season's out. And even they are really complaining about the lack of seriousness, of quality, kind of all of the above in this episode.
Yeah, my sister, she's a very casual. I mean, she loves Star Wars because, you know, I'm her older brother and I got another brother, and she loves Star Wars, but she's more of a casual fan. And she even messaged me today and said, yeah, I was dumb. It was dumb.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Blondie Boy has a rebuttal. He says, not the worst. A Boba Fett biker thing was the worst. I liked this episode because it was fun, and I enjoy fun little Clone Wars stories. I do not care about the story.
Well, I think that says it there, though. If you don't care about story and you want to see cameos and Clone Wars, and that's cool. I get where Blonde Boy's coming from, but I think some of us enjoy the story. You know, that's what made me fall in love with Star Wars in the first place, is really deep arcs, really deep redemption stories. This is just, I mean, I'm just going to say it again. It's a filler, you know, it's a filler.
I think it was worse than a filler, in my opinion, because a filler, you're not talking about it after the fact. The internet is not ablaze after the episode releases. And it seems to be right now. Most episodes, I can find one or two people on YouTube just by scrolling through my newsfeed of people that are defending the episode or saying, hey, I actually really liked this, and here's some good points to pick out. I haven't really seen that with this episode. No. And I was one of the people during the Dr. Pershing Coruscant episode. I really liked that episode.
I liked it too.
People didn't. Awesome. I'm glad we're on the same page with that. And I think the reason I liked that and most people didn't is because although it was rabbit traily and very different from what people were expecting from this season, it was immersive. For me, like, it was very immersive. I got to feel like it was a real place. Like, if you were on Coruscant, would you not go see the Mount Everest of Coruscant? I would. But in this last episode, where was the immersion? I was brought out of it constantly, and maybe it was Jack Black and Lizzo and Christopher Lloyd not being cast as Jorah Sabayoth. But it just, I couldn't get involved in the story. I was just rolling my eyes the whole time.
So while the countdown was going on, I looked up some webpage inside the magic.net, and I wanted to get a little more information of what people are saying. And the title's called Fans Declare the End of The Mandalorian After Show Ruins Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like the fandom does tend to freak out and sometimes be dramatic, and you know, I'm not trying to blame any of the fans. I could do that myself, right? But I think they're onto something when they say it seems like they're trying to cover up mediocre writing with filler episodes and star-studded cameos.
Yeah. But even then, like, those cameos, I mean, Jack Black as a person in the back to, like, say, like, 2 lines or something. Sure, like, hey, I know who that is. That's pretty funny. But for him to appear on screen as Jack Black, essentially.
Yeah. Well, it almost seems like it's a free-for-all now, and whoever wants to be immortalized in Star Wars can sign up.
Right.
And you get a phone call like, oh, I got the gig. Now I'm in Star Wars. But what's really kind of wacky about it, and I think you said it earlier too, it's super fans getting into the show that maybe don't have any business in being in a show or a movie because they're super fans. And I'm sorry, if you ask me, I don't think I would do a good job because I'm such a fan. You want someone who's casual, you know, maybe knows a little bit, but they're not going to be geeking out and fanboying over off the lore or the director or the other actors. They're just going to do there to do a good job. So I'm hopeful for some of the new shows that are announced regarding that topic. But as far as Mandalorian, I think that was a really strange decision.
Yeah. So speaking of acting, we're just gonna jump straight into the acting, or lack of acting, let's call it. That's the first thing I wanted to really majorly touch on, was just Lizzo. Now we know she's what she is a representative of in today's culture. I don't really want to get into all that because, I mean, that goes without saying. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I would say anyway. So there's no sense in talking about that. Where was her acting ability?
I didn't see it.
He is the love of my life, and sure, he has made mistakes, but who among us has not? I hereby banish you to the like that
was pretty good. That's pretty good.
It wasn't much different than the actual performance we got in that episode.
It was very wooden, very stoic, very silly, very caricature style, which it just comes out of left field. This whole season has felt, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some amazing moments, and my jaw dropped the first few episodes, and I just love it. But then it's almost like a schizophrenic type of storytelling. It's like, oh,
you're exactly right.
Here's the story. Now we're going to hyperspace you to this random officer of Gideon with Pershing, which, again, I like that, but don't jerk us around like you're like schizophrenic. Yeah,
there's no cohesion. I mean, think back to Andor. I mean, the entire, we got the different 3-episode arcs for the most part.
Yeah.
Or 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, or whatever, however they broke it up. But still, it was going in a single direction, and you knew what was going to happen, and that allowed it to build tension throughout the entire show. Whereas is schizophrenic is a very good way to point it. It's great moments with no glue holding them together.
Exactly. And that comes down to bad writing, right? And then the acting doesn't help, the bad acting. So I'm glad you brought up Andor, because that's a perfect example of a show that builds up to an ultimatum, right? A climax, if you will, of, you know, sorry, spoiler alert, if anyone hasn't watched it, mute this, mute this. I would be surprised if you haven't. But in Andor, they finally go to a prison. Okay, then they break out, and then they finally rebel against the Empire. You see the birth of the rebellion in different little cells.
That's
and it
the
just
overarching theme. Yeah,
it's overarching. It's powerful. It's momentum. It's building. You feel the tension, and it feels right. It resonates with real life, and I think that's what people are looking for. Is how does this resonate to me? This recent episode of Mandalorian, Guns for Hire, Chapter 22, it did not resonate with anybody. It didn't resonate with me. Nothing about it did.
Yep. Well, it resonated with Andy B. Was it Andy B? Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question specifically you can answer in the chat in just a moment. But to follow up on the point you just made, to jump off of that, with Andor, it had the overarching theme of the entire show, the whole series, not just this first season, but what we're expecting out of season 2 as well, is the birth of the rebellion. On a personal note, the overarching theme is, how does Andor get convinced to join the rebellion? And that was his character arc from the beginning to the end. Our central character, we were involved because we know he's not going to die. Okay, the show's named after him. You can say that for pretty much every show. But how does he get convinced? What is his tipping point to say, yes, I'm all in on this? What is that equivalent for Din Djarin?
Exactly. And I think there's some really big questions to ask with The Mandalorian. I got to be honest, I'm getting a little concerned that they're going to switch The Mandalorian to be Bo-Katan.
Right, which we mentioned a few days ago. I personally don't have a problem with that, because The Mandalorian, I wouldn't mind if they even changed the title of next season to The Mandalorians, and we get the reestablishing of the Mandalorian culture. I think that's cool. I have no problem with that. The way they're doing it's weird.
Yep.
It's just very strange. Even the whole, like, I was defeated by a creature that stole the Darksaber and she stole it from it, therefore it belongs to her. Oh yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, let's go.
It's the whole Emperor Palpatine returns somehow. Just throw it in there, some cheesy dialogue, and then get it over with. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a weak setup, a weak sequence. I agree, Israel.
I will not argue with that.
It was very cartoonish.
All right, so Andy B, if you're still watching, let me know what you like. Genuinely, I'm not going to bash you for having an opinion because yours is just as valid as mine is. And I'm genuinely interested in, for those of you that are watching that did like the episode, why was that? Because I wish I enjoyed this episode, but there was too much for me to overlook. Father Time says, didn't realize it was Lizzo until someone explained it to me. Didn't understand all the hype. I liked Jack Black, but Doc felt out of place. Interesting. Interesting take. So I think for me, seeing Christopher Lloyd as the director of security or whatever his title was, I don't even remember. I don't care. Was a little jarring. His performance was a little strange, but he's old. I get it. I think the main reason it was jarring to me was because he was hired and we all assumed it was for Joris Sabayoth in the Ahsoka show. You know, he was going to play that role, which I thought, that's cool. I could see him playing that. And then he's just kind of a no-name throwaway doctor that was, let's pull the mask off and see who it really is. Scooby-Doo.
Totally.
Yeah, that's why he felt out of place to me. And we'll talk a little bit more about him in just a minute. Nekbadesh, good to see you in here. Hope you're doing well.
I like that Thrawn photo, dude. That was cool.
Yeah, it's dope. Menacing. Speaking of Thrawn, I think it's a good place. I don't know why I still have Lizzo's name on the screen. There were tons of jokes that I could have made in discussing Lizzo in this show that I was given a list of jokes basically by my brother-in-law. I am not going to mention any of them. I'm going to leave it there. But we are going to talk about our first news segment. This is, if I can find this, the news from the stars.
From the farthest corners of the galaxy and every channel in the holonet, we bring you news from the stars.
I have not seen the Ahsoka trailer.
Why not?
Well, I figured we'd watch it right here and talk about it just a little bit. Take a quick break from being upset about Mandalorian and talk about something that we might find exciting. I haven't even seen it, so I don't know.
It's great.
But if I can share the screen, if everything will cooperate, Chrome tab, Ahsoka trailer, share. And I have to play pieces of this to not copyright ourselves.
Sounds coming.
Cool. So that's the move she did. Is my internet killing itself?
Something's wrong, yeah.
My internet's killing itself, huh? Okay. So we'll not talk about the Ahsoka trailer because, man, it's so weird. StreamYard is very strange sometimes. As soon as I bring up something to share on screen, like my internet connection goes weird. It's not a router thing. It's like computer to browser thing. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's...
Anyway, I'm going to watch it, not sharing it on screen. Because otherwise... All right, let's see. I noticed that she did the cut the circle in the ground just like she did in the last season of Clone Wars, which is very cool.
Yeah.
What is your biggest takeaway from the Ahsoka trailer?
Oh, wow. The world between worlds.
Okay, so we got Sabine and a Loth cat that I see right here. Cool.
Yeah, go ahead and
World
watch
Between
it.
Worlds.
Yeah, go ahead and watch it.
Droids, Harrison Dula, very cool. Chopper looks great.
I'm in love with the actresses, too. I'm just so stoked.
Orange lightsabers.
Orange lightsabers, yes.
Is that the tower from Rebels, I think? Mon Mothma. A surprise to be sure,
Yeah.
but a welcome one. Very nice. Sorry for everyone that can't see this on screen, but the computer would not cooperate. Let's see what else is going. Oh, Thrawn from the back. Do we have
Who
any
hasn't
idea of
seen
the
it?
actor?
Who hasn't seen it, chat? Ask him who hasn't seen it.
Who has not seen the trailer? Ooh, Vision's trailer had him hyped. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, the Visions trailer's insanity.
No, I did not, Blondie Boy. I have not seen it. All right, let me finish up this trailer, then we'll kind of discuss it for a few more minutes. And I'm sorry that I can't show this on stream. Computer's not cooperating.
Maybe it's for the best. You don't want to get copyrighted.
I like the rebels inside the ship. That looks great.
Every
I
scene.
know you guys can't see.
Every scene looks great
Yeah.
too.
Okay, so this has a different feel. This has a different feel for sure. And I wish I had time to like really pick through it and dig into it. I'm sure I will after the stream is done. But it feels good.
Oh, it feels amazing.
There's something about it, and the shots, like the cinematography, the way it looks like it's shot, is very different from what we've gotten in previous Star Wars projects, which is nice. It seems refreshing.
It looks more cinematic. It looks more mystical, and those dark characters with the orange lightsabers. There's all kinds of speculation about that. They could be Dark Jedis. They could be from a different time, Old Republic. You know,
Well, if we're bringing World Between Worlds into it, we could get whatever.
just about, yeah. So you have these strange, mysterious characters, and then you have another, even more mysterious, masked character that almost looks like an Inquisitor. And there's some wild theories that it's Barriss, you know, coming to get her revenge with Ahsoka, but I don't know.
It would be cool to see Barriss come back into it.
Strangely enough, I like that character. I usually don't root for the villains, but she was very mysterious. Well, I root for Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Yeah. They got the Wallace and Gromit studio to make an episode. Interesting.
Yes.
So what I hope they don't do with this is use the World Between Worlds to give us an episode of the week. Like we go to a different alternate universe each week through the World Between Worlds.
That would be terrible.
How awful would that be? I doubt it.
Almost like a variety show.
Right. Like the
Like, hey, we're going here next week. No,
WandaVision of Star Wars.
Oh, you know, I'm just saying this real quick. WandaVision is the one that got me off Marvel. I was like, I'm done.
I agree.
I can't do this.
I agree with you.
And that's when it started going downhill. And Star Wars, I feel like it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. Now, to be on the positive, I watched a lot of Star Wars Celebration content, and I'm very excited for. Oh well, I can fill you in a little bit.
Sure.
There's a lot of cool stuff coming out. A lot of good stuff. The Acolyte, I'm very cautious about.
Yeah.
I noticed with the releases, there's almost like, again, here's the word schizophrenic. I think I'll use a different word, maybe bipolar or something, or double. There's a duality.
Inconsistent.
Inconsistent, where it seems like there's two Star Wars right now. One's going this way, one's going this way. One of them wants to tell a story and really dive deeper into the lore. The other just wants to create new content.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like as long as we just make more new content, we'll be fine. But the other side's saying, no, let's dive in deep and really hone in our craft with the characters that are loved already.
Right, and that's almost what we got with, but a little bit different with Book of Boba Fett, with Kenobi, and then totally changing it up with Andor. It's like, okay, yeah, we're giving you more content about these characters that you know. Here you go, more and more. Let's just make more content. They're going to buy it up. And then Andor is like, let's like kind of take things a little more seriously.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the complaint is, oh, no one knows about these characters. They're all going to die anyway. Like, what's the point? We know Andor doesn't die. Whatever. No one cares about this. But I think that allowed them to really focus on the quality. And I hate that we always keep coming back and comparing everything since then to Andor. But it does really still feel like we're just waiting for Andor season 2 at this point.
Well, what was the complaint with Andor? Oh, it's too slow.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but that's good storytelling takes its time. Okay. There's character development, there's arcs. We all know this stuff, right? But I feel like there's some people in the fandom who don't understand the basics of storytelling, and they don't know why they like what they like, but they know they like certain things, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're all... I feel like we need to be kind, respectful, and have opinions and share opinions and just have fun with it. I mean, for goodness sake, I'm into Star Wars because many reasons, but one of my main reasons is to escape reality and take a break from the world. You know, it's so bad.
We talked about that last time you were on, yeah.
You just want to rest and like, let me just dive into my favorite lore. It's my favorite franchise. It's my favorite thing ever. So I just want to watch Star Wars to watch Star Wars. But when they can't even get that right sometimes, and we can probably debate this till the end of the world, but what is Star Wars, right? I just want to watch something that I'm interested in. And this last episode, again, coming back to it, was not interesting at all. You know, I could say it could be more appealing to the younger crowd. I don't mean that in a that's not a knock or a disrespect, but I think the younger crowd might like it a little bit more, especially if they grew up with the prequels and they saw some of the droids and, oh, I remember that. And maybe they have a fondness with Jack Black. I personally love Jack Black as an entertainer. I don't have a problem with Lizzo either. I just don't get it. You know, it doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
I'm not going to cause a big, crap storm over it. But back to my original point is they need to just focus on quality and storytelling. And this felt like none of that. Yep. It was just like, hey, let's do this quick episode and throw a couple things together. And yeah, it's Star Wars, right? They're going to eat it up. I don't like that. It seems like the attitude of it's Star Wars. They're going to like it anyways. It's like, no.
Did you happen to see Matt Walsh's video about this episode?
No.
So you know Matt Walsh, I'm assuming. You know Matt Walsh?
Yeah, totally.
Beard Daily Wire guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So he doesn't like Star Wars to begin with. And I'm thinking about making a video in response to his, but his main point was, why is anyone watching this? Like they'd think you're stupid by putting this junk in front of you and knowing that you'll still eat it up. Like if they're going to do this, they might as well sell you a movie ticket to a 2.5-hour screening of the Star Wars logo. And that would be better than what this episode provided.
Oh man. Yeah, he's brutal and over the top. But he's got a point. And I have to say this is at the very least it's the worst Mandalorian episode.
Me? Conservative people? Yeah. You've probably found the most conservative Star Wars person. But
what does conservative mean though?
Yeah. Well, conservative is different to everyone else, man. Like your idea of conservative is not the same as mine.
To each his own, they say,
All right, so to finish up this segment, because we were supposed to watch the Ahsoka trailer, which didn't work out. Any other Star Wars Celebration news that you've heard of that stands out? Because I, again, haven't watched anything. Is Rey pregnant in the next Star Wars movie?
Oh, man. Okay, let's talk about that.
I know nothing, so fill me in.
Okay, she's going to be a Grandmaster Jedi who starts a new order.
Okay.
I don't know how people feel about that. I know that's going to be a split, controversial. Okay, you got two directors I've never heard of, but you got Dave Filoni as the middle film, which...
And so now, I think we've proven with the last few shows, just because it has Dave Filoni's name on it does not mean we're going to get quality.
And I think that's what the fans are crying about. Let's be honest. They're lamenting the fact that, wait, this is a Dave Filoni production and this is happening? That's what's really the subconscious question.
Well, that's a hole in a lot of people's boats, because they figured Kathleen Kennedy, pure evil, all the cause of everything bad. Dave Filoni, pure good, George Lucas's successor, cause of everything good. It doesn't seem like it's playing out that way. So it does seem like a lot of people's worlds are about to get rocked.
I think you are correct. And, this episode really, I've never had this reaction with any Star Wars in my life. Even Last Jedi, I was like, that was good, that was cool. And then I disliked it a little bit more as time went on. But this episode, and I was talking to one of my friends, Patrick, who's also in the Fire First. He's another Kylo Ren cosplayer. He said he couldn't finish it. He turned it off. I'm like, dude, I could barely sit through it. That's bad. That's next level bad.
Echo Base Network. I don't know if this is Coach or Nick, but if either of you guys want to jump on the stream, you're more than welcome to, because we're kind of not being very happy about Mandalorian right now, and I know that's how you guys feel about that. So, text me, message me in Discord, whatever. If I don't know if it's Coach or Nick, but either of you guys, if you want to jump on, let me know. You're welcome to. So, all right. So,
okay.
Any other Star Wars news?
Well, let's talk about what he just said. I think he's right that something about Dave Filoni's making a movie to wrap up the connection between Mando verse coming into the sequel era. I think he's right about that. But I thought that, I guess I had it wrong, but there's 3 movies coming out, a trilogy, and Rey is in it.
Okay. In it versus the focus of it could make a huge difference. And also, I think, without knowing more information, if she goes by explicitly in this movie, trilogy, whatever, as Rey Skywalker, you might have to pay me to go to the theater to see it.
Oh no. I see where you're coming from. Okay. I'm in between with it. Here's what it is. I think it's kind of beautiful how she's an adopted Skywalker. Okay. And that comes to my faith. It comes to my personal, my dad is I don't call him my stepdad, but
sure,
he basically is my stepdad. And so I could see the beauty of adoption, of giving someone a home and a father and a chance. So I see that with Rey in the story. It is a little offensive, though. Luke Skywalker to me is the best. And
there's a difference between being adopted and assuming someone's name.
Correct. And I think that's where it gets twisted. Because, yes, it seems like she just assumed the name. And there was some plot armor as usual with her and the whole Mary Sue, argument. I see that for sure. And it's frustrating because if they would have just made some changes, she could have been a really good character.
Agree.
But they didn't. They made very agenda driven decisions, and it created this terrible writing and terrible character,
I think the gut reaction that a lot of us had in the theater when she said Rey Skywalker is never going to go away. No matter how much they explain, I think that got honestly, the gut reaction for a lot of people of blasphemy. I don't think you're ever really going to smooth that over with most people. So
I agree.
They probably would be wise to kind of just not mention that in whatever movies. But I'm sure there's a whole lot of other Star Wars news to come out of Celebration that I will have to catch up on because I've kind of stayed away from all of that this week. It was Easter, so that was kind of my main focus this last weekend. So
Same.
There's that, but that is essentially the news from the stars.
From the farthest corners of the galaxy and every channel in the holonet, we bring you news from the stars.
All right, so the next thing let's talk about, we kind of touched on it earlier, Christopher Lloyd. Initial thoughts?
That didn't bug me as much. He's part of the sci-fi, fandom overall, Back to the Future and other different parts he's played, Roger Rabbit, and stuff. I think he's a great actor. He's getting up there in age, so it's kind of a little bit of an awkward performance. I didn't mind the cameo. I think Jack Black and Lizzo were the more confusing, distracting cameos.
Yeah.
But Christopher Lloyd has a long history and he almost belongs there compared to the other two. What do you think?
I would agree with that. I think, again, the main reason why it caught me off guard was because it was assumed by many that he would be Jorah Sabayoth in Ahsoka or whatever future projects and play a major role. And for him to have probably less than 10 minutes of screen time and, he's the bad guy, he's exiled, was just a little... It felt like a waste of his character.
Remind me who Jarrus is again?
In the original Timothy's on Thrawn books, he is... I can't remember if he was a clone of the guy or not, but essentially he had battle meditation and was used by Thrawn to fight against the New Republic.
Oh.
So really, really cool character. Force user. I don't think he was an actual Jedi. Jorah Sabayoth, the original guy, was.
Oh, was he like the big bad, like bearded dark side user?
Yeah. He's got he's like got his hands like this on the cover of the book.
Now I
With,
know
like,
who you're talking about.
that.
Yes.
That's who I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's who he was rumored to play.
Okay.
Which would have been awesome and seemed like a great fit. Which is why it kind of was shocking to me and seeing like, this is what they're using for. Bummer. In this episode of all things. Kind of.
I feel like they would use like an Ian McKellen or like, Gandalf type actor for that.
Yeah.
But then again, the confusingness of what they're doing, the confusion of modern Star Wars is, we're going to give you a little bit of Legends, but not everything.
Yeah, he was a clone.
He was a clone. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked and acted so different that it didn't bother me quite as much. And I don't know who Lizzo is, so for me, the jarring one was Jack Black. Yep, we're going to get into that right now. Anything else on Christopher Lloyd? I think that's pretty much it. I didn't really have a huge problem with it. It just seemed like a waste of him.
Yeah.
So 100%. I think that's kind of what I would say that as. So now we're actually going to talk about, because I do have breaking news to spill right here, the way the news goes.
The Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
Actually has nothing to do with politics. I just didn't have a special stinger for this type of segment, so I'm using that. Anyway, as I said it all the way in the intro, I have obtained leaked audio of the phone call between Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, and Jack Black when she gave him the invitation to be cast in The Mandalorian. Exclusive audio.
Oh boy.
You're hearing it here first. This is never before seen. I haven't even heard this phone call yet, but I have it on good faith and good money that this is the real deal. So before I play that, initial thoughts on Jack Black being in this episode. I don't even remember his character's name because it was essentially Jack Black.
I don't know who he was. I don't know what his name was. All I know is he was out of place. That's it.
Yep. All right. Anything you guys in chat, everyone answer in chat. Scale of 1 to 10, was it a good idea for Jack Black to be who he was in this episode? 1 being that was a huge mistake, 10 being you loved it. Father Time liked it. You would. Yeah, Bombardier.
I think it used to be cool. It used to be cool to hate everything. Now I feel like it's like cool to be like, no, I like it.
It is. It honestly is, because I've gotten the most reactions of talking to people about that Coruscant episode and being like, you know what? I thought the glowing popsicles were kind of cool. Like, I liked it. That does seem like the rebellion. Like being
whatever,
a rebel.
Popular, I'm going to go against it. It's like,
well, it's the same thing with like conservatism now in culture. It's like, if you want to go against culture, like you can't. Rage Against the Machine is now raging for the machine. So
exactly. We can talk about that, but we won't.
yeah. I could have an entire politics channel, I'm sure.
We need a different channel for that.
I know. Yeah, this is not the place for that. 7, he's with Father Time. All right.
It's surprising. I'm shocked.
Very surprised. But most of them seem pretty low, and that's kind of what I've gathered so far. Is it was bad. It was out of place. It was
I
weird.
want to know what makes you say 7. Can you expand on that? Is he your favorite actor of all time?
You please do. And while you guys are coming up with your reasonings behind those 7s, I'm going to break this news right here. Again, exclusive audio of the phone call between Kathleen Kennedy and Jack Black, inviting him onto The Mandalorian. I haven't heard this yet, but I have it on good authority, and I paid some studio budget to obtain this. Top credits for sure, to obtain this audio. This is Jack Black and Kathleen Kennedy.
Hello, this is Jack.
Hey, Mr. Black. Well, as you know, everything we've done with the Star Wars franchise has been a massive success, and we would all be thrilled to have you join our cast of legendary characters.
Hold up. You mean you're asking me to play a Star Wars character? Well, I regret to inform you that I accept your offer, Betty. So what kind of character are we talking about here?
So you will be dealing directly with some Mandalorian heroes, and here's the best part. Your character is Jack Black. No acting required, you just do you, and we film whatever you come up with.
Whatever I come up with?
Script is pretty much an afterthought. We know how good you are with coming up with things on the fly.
Do I get to hold the darksaber? Can I be a Mandalorian? Because, weapons are part of my religion.
Well, no, you wouldn't be a Mandalorian, but you get to interact with them.
Speaking of, I've already got some ideas flowing, just seeping out of my brain hole. Just sit back and listen to this. It starts off a dark planet, and then a beam of light, and you can see me and the darksaber. Down, 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 down. In the ancient time, there was a guy called Mandalore, and his adventures were written in the lore. In his heart he knew that the legends must be true. He would find and ride a mythosaur. Well, you're not hardcore. No, you're not hardcore unless you wear Beskar. It's the legends of a guy from Mandalore. Boom!
Even I think that's pushing it a little far.
Well, there's just one problem there. That role is mine! How can you kick me out from what is mine?
I don't think that was legitimate leaked audio. We're going to have to see if we can get a refund on that.
Bro, that was incredible. I needed that. Thank you.
So, and also,
did you do that? Was that you?
I don't think that was Jack Black. Full disclosure, I think that something was wrong with the AI voice cloner of Jack Black, but we're gonna leave it there. This has been the way the news goes.
The Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
I spent too much time on that.
I'm gonna have nightmares about that conversation. I love School of Rock.
It's a great movie. I gotta watch it again. It's been too long. So, yeah, Nekbadesh says 7 because he can't, not any higher because he can't see Jack Black as anybody else but Jack Black. And I was joking in that phone call where she said your character is Jack Black. You just do you and we film it, but it kind of felt like that. Like the whole way he was like, "Hey, everybody, we've got some Mandalorians."
Yeah. So Nick just proved he just proved the point.
Yeah.
It's Jack Black, baby.
Okay. So I see what you're saying. The whole planet was kind of corny and he's a corny actor. It shouldn't have been corny in the first place. But if he's going to play this like eccentric, high society aristocratic leader, I mean, yeah, that kind of fits what he is. I don't know. I don't like it.
Who directed this episode? Do you know?
Bryce Dallas Howard, I believe.
Oh,
which is unfortunate. Which is very if that's
Shock.
not correct.
That is shocking to me. The last episode she's done has been great.
Mm-hmm. She's done a couple, and I remember they were all like best or second best of the season each time. So, think it was supposed to be a lighthearted episode. Yeah.
You know what? Okay, KG, I think you're right. I think they purposely set out to make a silly, fun episode. Okay, because there's no other explanation. I don't think there's anything generally wrong with that, but I think it's confusing for some of us fans who aren't looking for that. So maybe they said we need more kids. Well, she just said it was strange.
Mm-hmm.
It was strange. Is it wrong? Is it detrimental? I don't think so. I don't want to get dark with it, but it just wasn't good. You know, it was strange.
And as I said at the very intro of this whole stream, it wasn't like I'm breaking my headphones and I'm gonna go write an angry letter to Lucasfilm and then not send it and instead go kick a puppy down the street.
Exactly.
It was more of just like.
Well, let me share something with you. So all the episodes have 7.5, 8.5 ratings. Okay, stars.
Sure.
Chapter 22 is 6.4.
Ooh,
the lowest rating.
That's a drop.
And I would have to assume has the lowest rating viewership of any Mandalorian episode. So why would you wait 2 years to give us this? That's my question.
I just don't. It's just weird decisions is what it comes down to. There's not. It's not like they ruined Star Wars or anything. It's just very strange decisions.
Yeah, again, I don't want to be that guy that's, you ruined Star Wars. It's very immature and very...
That's both of you guys, Nova and Neck, you guys are both saying the same thing. We don't need it this late in the season.
This isn't Stranger Things.
Right, and I was talking with Father Time the other day about this. Right now is where we need to be sucked into the finale.
Yes.
We need this episode to catapult us into the 2-part finale, whether it's part 1 and 2 or not. We need one to drive up the stakes and the last one to capitalize on it and answer the questions. And this episode should get us on that track.
What track are we on? Last season we were knee deep. You know, the heroes are coming against the
okay, so the equivalent, that's a good point, because the equivalent episode from last season was the Bill Burr episode, and then we had something after that, but it was definitely like really building up toward the end. And with only 8 episodes, we've only got 2 left. What are the stakes we're fighting for? Are we even going to go back to see IG-11 get rebuilt with his memory circuit?
I doubt it.
What was the point with that?
Something tells me, and I don't want to be doom and gloom, guys, but something tells me they're going to make a completely controversial decision.
So
they're
no,
going
I
in a
have
different
heard,
direction.
Right. So I have heard from Aussie Star Wars nerd. I don't think he's in here right now. He has supposedly heard some leaks that next episode is going to be crazy in the best way. He didn't say anything about what it was in Discord or anything, but he told me that next episode is going to be amazing. I hope so.
I believe it.
I really hope so.
I have to believe they're going to end out on a good note, but I don't know. I just feel like I think it's whatever KG said earlier. I think they just decided to make a silly episode. That's it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think it's smart. They shouldn't be experimenting or you know, with any Star Wars. They don't have any room to experiment. Let's be honest. What works.
Yeah.
Do what works better and keep capitalizing on that. Don't give us strange, kooky episodes.
Yeah, scientist, mythosaur, robot build. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Ooh.
And that's the Father Time's biggest thing, is just getting sucked into it. And the overarching theme of all of the people that I've talked to, like coworkers of mine, it's like, hey, did you see the last episode? And they're like, nah, I'm still 2 weeks behind. Like, people are not invested in this season, in watching it week by week. What was there to bring them in? Andor had that to bring us in.
Yeah.
And after the first 3 episodes, but in this season, it's been all over the place with nothing really setting the tone. Like,
So
we don't know what to expect at all.
we don't even know what they're fighting. They're just fighting random people every episode. Okay, that's the problem. And then
That's so painful to hear you say that, but it's
it
true.
is. Here's more pain for you. Check this out.
Oh no.
In season 3, many are claiming that its titular character, Din Djarin, is getting lost in his own story.
Yeah,
I think that's the root of the problem.
And especially now that he doesn't have the Darksaber, the only thing special about him is that he's Grogu's ward. That is it. He's not the best fighter. He has the shiniest armor, but that doesn't mean anything. He has no name recognition among the other Mandalorian clans. Like, I mean, Paz Vizsla has more name recognition than Din Djarin. A lot of people view him as not even real Mandalorian, as we saw in this episode, which was one of the few bright spots in this episode. There's a couple really cool references and a couple little tidbits of lore and actual story and useful information thrown in this episode. But I forgot what I was talking about. But yes.
It's lazy writing. They're relying on, oh, look, we're giving you some nostalgia elements. Roger.
Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. They used Clone Wars voice for the droids, which felt really out of place in live action.
Totally.
So it's different. It's the same way that we are able to separate Matt Lanter from Hayden Christensen. They are both equally Anakin, but if we heard Matt in a live action setting, it would be so weird.
Totally.
In the same way that with the battle droids, and like maybe it's not a big deal to a lot of other people, but hearing the like, well, that was unexpected, like that kind of joking around voice in live action and seeing the battle droids like in physical form didn't fit at all.
I totally agree. What does the chat think?
What does the chat think? Sometimes I wish this was like a big Zoom call and we could like ask like everyone in the chat what they thought instead of just saying written responses. But that was one thing that I caught. That's why I told you earlier I wanted to rewatch this episode today, because there were a couple things like that.
You know what? I'm going to watch it again after this because I want to understand. But you're right. Even something such as small as a voice or a sound or a modulation, it's just not there, or it's the same exact thing as the animation. It doesn't work, like you said. Like I want a little bit darker, right?
Yep. Moving away from the prequel, maybe, but it didn't seem right. And I mean, that would make sense because a video game is very similar to a cartoon. But hearing that voice in live action was really weird. All right, to finish up, Droid Bar, what did you think about that?
Again, strange. I get it. Don't get me wrong. There's parts of it that make sense. Like, well, what do droids do when they're not working, right? Okay, so they go get, oil baths or whatever. Okay, it's kind of silly, but there is some logic to it. Because what are they going to do? Just power off and that's it? I guess I kind of get it, but again, it goes back to the same theme, cartoonish, silly,
All right, there's two things that I want to touch on, and let me write them down before I forget them. What was that first thing? Terms. And I already forgot the second thing. Anyway, there's so many new terms that they're throwing in. Like if that isn't the Quackta calling the Stifling slimy. Like, that's a thing that they say, because I think they saw I Have Spoken, This Is the Way, Dank Farrik, like all these things that people started like catching on to, and they figured like, oh, we got to have like Star Wars equivalents for like real world things. That's what they like, Star Wars talk. And then we get all these new, like that would make you landed gentry. And the Quackta calling the Stifling slimy and like, it's no skin off my dip swap or whatever Pelimoto said before. But it's just all these weird phrases and stuff. That's one thing. Go ahead.
You can have people arguing, well, Star Wars, the original trilogy, used, Nerf herder.
Scruffy lurking, Nerf herder. Yeah.
And
Yep.
bantha poodoo and all these funny, weird words. And so I get it. They're trying to make something happen. And I don't really mind that too much. But I do mind it when they're trying too hard, though.
Yeah.
And it seems like, let's just get down to brass tacks. It seems like there's a couple shotguns for Star Wars and they're just firing them off at the wall. It's like, whatever sticks.
Yeah,
Because
they
you
like
got
this,
people
and
in
oh
suits
yeah,
don't
they
know
like
the
this, and
Yeah.
what else do they like? Oh yeah, they like that. Throw it in, sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, they're like, Yoda, put a little baby Yoda. It's like, okay, yeah, we love them, but
Yeah.
let's be honest too. Let's really talk about this, and we don't have to go into this too deep if you don't want to. I think people are confused. Your casual viewer didn't even understand why Grogu's back, right?
Yeah.
In Boba Fett, all of a sudden Mandalorian takes over his show, and you got Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka, and Grogu making the decision to come back with Din Djarin. But they didn't explain that really. Maybe there was some cheesy recap. Okay, whatever.
Barely.
Right?
We talked about that. It was barely.
But you can't assume, and if you want to get new fans, new customers per se, new fan base, why are you going to confuse them? That's the marketing 101. Don't confuse your sales base, your clientele. You should do the opposite. Everything should be clear as day. Hey, we're going to do this episode, at least do a recap, something. But no, man, it's confusing. People are just like checked out, They waited 2 years and you gave them this and they're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Fans like us, we're hardcore. We love Star Wars. We're going to give it a chance. We're going to watch it.
Yep.
But your casual fan, I think they're gone. Like my coworkers, my friends, they're like behind as well. And that wasn't the case last season. It was like, oh man, I can't wait to stay up late or watch it first thing Wednesday morning or what have you.
There's nothing about this season that makes me want to wake up at 3 a.m.
I mean, let's be honest.
Andor did make me want to wake up at 3 a.m. every morning for that, which I did most mornings. I'm not doing that for Mando.
And I don't blame you. And I think a lot of casual viewers, let's call them viewers, not even fans. Let's call them viewers who I have Disney Plus. Let me just log it. Let me check this, whatever the hoopla is about this. And they're probably thinking, I don't get it, and they're not going to watch again because they don't get it. If you do something that people get, you're going to get more fans, more universal appeal. But if you're just trying to do this silly thing, well, you're losing some people.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents.
You're right. Yeah, last thing I wanted to say, a point about this episode, is they introduced so many new concepts. There was nothing to go off of because every 2 seconds was a new concept. I mean, how late in the episode did we get the whole idea for the mitochondria in the droid juice chips or whatever? And then we go to the morgue, like, okay, I didn't know they had droid morgues and stuff. That's kind of strange. And like, we're performing an autopsy, and oh, what's that? Oh, it's the droid juice mitochondria. What's written on it? Oh, it's a chain code. Did we know droids can have chain codes? That's a little strange. Like, oh, it was programmed. Like, there's just so many like new things that they were like they were setting the rules of the episode well deep into the episode runtime, and so there was no way for us to enjoy it, but aside from all the other things, because you're still trying to learn the rules of the game.
Yeah, I definitely felt jerked around on it. Like you said, every single clip, sequence, frame had something new. You're just like trying to keep up, but it wasn't exciting or like a mysterious. It was just like confusing again. Like, wait, what is this? Why would you hide that in? It just, none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Help it make sense, chat.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. I think I'm done trying to rationalize this episode, and I'm just going to chalk it up as a fluke. It was very weird, out of place, bad decisions. Hopefully not a sign of more things to come, but that's kind of my recap on it.
I agree.
Again, I'm not hateful about this episode. It's just like, I'm a little disappointed. Like, you could have done more, and I think you made a lot of bad decisions with this. And it's easy for me to say as a viewer, but
on a bright note, I think, sometimes there's some bad pieces of food, and then the next bite's really good, right? So I think the next couple episodes will rock our worlds. The next shows, again, go watch Star Wars Celebration announcements. There's a lot of amazing things coming out, a lot of great ideas, a lot of great new paths we're going to be on for Star Wars, even new animation like Visions, and I'm very excited. I really am. I'm hopeful. It's not all going to be a hit. We know that they're gonna take some L's, but I think there's a lot more W's coming in, a lot more wins than we think. So I'm still hopeful, and I'm a huge Kylo Ren guy. So as you can see my helmet right there. I'm kind of hoping that in this Ahsoka or Rey sequel that he comes out of the World Between Worlds, and maybe he can show up again as in some kind of element, Ben Solo or something. That's one of my secret wishes. But yeah, we had a strange one, and all we could do is just hope for the best and move forward. But wow, was it weird?
Yeah. And it seems weird to say I hope Disney learns their lesson, because no, they're gonna do what they do. They don't do that. So
I feel like they are listening, but at the same time they have their own creative agendas, and that's fine. If you want to be creative and try something different, or some of it feels like more of the same, but got to be careful how you phrase it. But I'm just very interested to see the future of a lot of Star Wars, because I think it's going to be good. We got another Bad Batch season 3, Andor, a lot of cool stuff coming up. So it's not all doom and gloom, but yeah, they threw us a curveball, and it's just a fact, and if you like it, that's no big deal. We're not going to hate on you. I would hope everyone just has love and respect for each other. Yeah, save Ben Solo.
Yeah,
I like Ben Solo.
All right, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. We've kind of talked it way more than it deserved to be talked about, but we'll leave it there. If you want to talk a little bit after this,
dead bantha.
Yeah, we sure did. If you want to talk a little bit after the fact, just wait until the outro video plays. But everyone, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you coming on as a guest. Always a pleasure to talk with you. Hopefully everyone in chat enjoyed this conversation. I sure did, even though it was a little bit upsetting. We got through it. So hopefully in the next 48 hours or however long, 24, not even too long, I don't know, whenever the next episode drops, hopefully it's a good one, and then we'll have a little bit more positive attitudes next Monday night to talk about sort of stuff. But it's sad because I've had almost no desire to make videos on this season, which is rough. But but that's just how it is sometimes, and I do think that this is more of a fluke. But with only 2 episodes left, they gotta have a banger of a finale to make the season worthwhile, because it doesn't feel like that so far. But thank you very much for everyone being here. If you've been here from the very beginning of the stream, I really appreciate your time. May the stash be with you, and I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.